Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us again today. I'm obviously having a hard time talking already. Um, we appreciate you joining us for Medit app webinars. As you guys know, those of you who have been tuning in the whole time, June has kind of been focused on Medit apps, and Maria Rozlikova, I always say it very slowly each time because I know I'm going to say it incorrectly. She's been kind enough to walk us through the process and help us learn a lot more about how this is done. So Maria, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure, as usual.
Well, and those of you who are new joining today, Maria actually works out of the headquarters in Korea, and she's a program manager there. So it's really great having her walk us through this, kind of start to finish. They have an awesome team there, as anyone knows. They really respond to the end users' requests and questions. So it's an honor to have you here. Before I pass the time off to you, just a couple things I wanted to mention. The webinar is being recorded, and I know some of you are still experiencing issues receiving the recording. So if you haven't received the recording for Smile Design and Ortho Simulator, please email me at emily.bradley@medit.com and I will send these on to you. I did receive some requests today for the recordings, and I haven't had a chance to send those out, so you'll receive those after the webinar. Also, we really want to hear your questions. We want to know any questions you guys actually have. So please, if you're joining from your laptop, there's a control panel on the right-hand side of the screen. Just go ahead and click the chat button, and it will, the chat button, you'll just type your questions in. The questions will come directly to me, and then Maria will make sure we ask those questions to you. That being said, Maria, I think next week is Medit Compare, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to pass the time over to you. Everyone, let me know. We should be seeing Maria's screen. Again, the webinar is being recorded. And what I wanted to mention one last time, Maria, I keep taking up more of your time. They want to hear from you, is the fact that we do want to know what you want to know. So with the webinar follow-up email, you should be receiving kind of a survey, and we're just asking questions about things you may be struggling with, things you'd like to learn more about. We were going to continue this webinar series to make sure we're here to help. So please send us your requests. Again, emily.bradley@medit.com. And Maria, now I will finally stop talking and I'll pass the time off to you. Today we're doing Medit Crown Fit, and I know Maria and I were just talking about this earlier. She did pre-scanning of everything and pre-designing, just so we're not taking too much of your time. So just know the files she's pulled up and used are pre-scanned. Obviously, the crown that you designed in Exocad, and then scanned the crown later using your Medit scanner. So I'll let you take it from here and kind of explain the process. So thanks again.
Yeah, so let's get started. So as you see from the screen, today, as Emily has mentioned, we're talking about Medit Crown Fit, and as usual, everything that all those apps that we create to expand your workflow, they're always here in Medit Link app box. So everything is here. You can see all the updates, and you can see what those programs do. So we talked about Medit Ortho Simulation. We talked about Medit Smile Design here, and today we're talking about Medit Crown Fit. So Medit Crown Fit is a great app, and it's great because it can be used both in clinic and in lab. So it just depends on what you want to do. Maybe you have an in-house lab, so it doesn't really matter. So as long as you understand what you want to do, which is to check if the crown fits, basically it doesn't matter where you use it from. So let me go through the workflow. So once I install my
So Maria,
here,
just a couple questions as you get started. So basically, this is a great tool to, like, let's say if the doctor receives a crown back and it doesn't quite fit the way it should, they can test it and see which portions of the crown need to be reduced on the inside, so they know how to make it fit perfectly. Also, it's a way to maybe dial in your mill, or how you're producing the crown, to make sure everything's kind of dialed in, so you know the accuracy there. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay,
yes.
Thanks.
So after we install the program, we go to Casebox, and this is where all of your cases are. And this is my case that I have, as Emily mentioned before, I pre-scanned everything. And this is the model that I worked with. So you can scan it with your T-Series, with your I-Series, it doesn't really matter. because you can also run this program from your lab account or clinic account. So it's, yeah, it doesn't really matter. So this is what I had, and I scanned it. This is my prep tube. This is number 26. And here you can see it on my screen. And so this is the crown that I designed. So once you connect your CAD program to your MeditLink account in Clinic, you will see that you have this CAD tab appearing on your screen. And from here, I can run ExoCAD or which other program that you use for your design. And when you run your CAD program for MeditLink, there's a lot of information that those CAD programs pass into this case, and it includes some files that help to actually run CrownFit. And so here it is. Here is the same model, and this is the crown, as you can see, that has been designed. So this is what it looked like. And when I save everything back to my MeditLink case, there's a lot of information here. So there's construction info file. You should always check that it's in your case, because that would actually helps all data to be aligned inside CrownFit. And so now that I have my restoration, I want to actually see how well it's gonna be fitting on the prep tube, and I also want to see is there anything wrong? Maybe am I doing something incorrectly with the way that I mail or 3D print? So I can check the file that I designed, like the design file itself, and I can check whether or not there are any differences between this file and the actual restoration. So in order to do that, I ran Scan for Clinics, and I attached my restoration to BlueTag, and I scanned it with our iSeries i700.
So after you've designed, you've milled, now you're just going to scan that and then import it into MeditLink. Is that correct?
Yeah,
okay.
This is exactly correct. So this is it. This is my this file. This is my design file, right? And this is what I actually have as a real restoration. So I scanned it and I attached it to the same MeditLink case. So now I have all of the 3 prerequisites that I need to run CrownFit. So I have my scanned data of the restoration, I have the design file, and I have my prepared to scan data. So now I'm running Medit CrownFit exactly from the same spot where all of the where we run all of our apps from. And the program, thanks to all of this information that CAD program passes onto MeditLink case, that will help me really get through this workflow quick. So the CAD file, it's here. So in this window, we assign all of the data so the program understands what is what. So this is my prepared tube, and this is the scan file that I scanned, scan file of the restoration that I scanned with i700. And now that I import everything, this is all of the data aligned together. So in CrownFit, and we'll see this in MediCompare, everything is color coded. So you see that, for example, this reddish thing is the design file, and this kind of bluish color, purplish color, this is a milled restoration file. The scan data of it.
Perfect. So you see how they've kind of merged together there, and the differences basically is what it's meant to show.
Yeah, exactly. And as well, we talked about this in ortho simulation. Here on the right side, you see all of those buttons that are not scary at all. They just kind of allow you to look at the model from all the different views. And with this button, you can control how you actually look at the data. So do you want to see it in like this kind of meshy way, or do you just want to see the real colors of it?
I like that you point that out there, that it's basically just different views that you're turning the file to view, because I think sometimes people look at the screen and it seems intimidating with all the options there, and it's just a different view of the file that you're going to be turning it to view. So it's not too intimidating.
And also we have this cube here, and it just kind of rotate, so you can see the axis of how you're looking at your data right now. So it's not scary. It's actually fun to play with, to kind of get to know the data more. And if you're new to the digital world, like the world of 3D data, I think that's a great way to just play around, understand how data works here and there.
Sure.
That's a really good point when you start working with Metacompare and Metacrownfit, both of them.
Okay. So really quickly before you move on, and I know I keep asking a lot of questions, I was just going to ask you, there was a little garbage can at the bottom of the screen just then. Obviously that's delete, and it looked like there was an import file there as well. Is that rewrite?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can, when you press this button, you can actually import any other data from any other case that you have in your MeditLink account. And yeah, this one will delete the data.
Don't do that yet.
Yeah, don't do that yet. Yeah, so here, the first button, that's the crown alignment mode. And because we have all this CAD information that came to MeditLink from CAD, we don't really need to do this. So this is all done automatically. In case there is some problem, you can always use all of those tools to just do it manually. But as long as you run CAD for MeditLink, you should not experience any of those problems. So I really recommend doing it from MeditLink running your CAD.
Got it. And then it's interesting, really quick, go back one step. Sorry, I keep interrupting you today.
No problem.
So this is crown alignment mode, and it looks like there's a description on the left-hand side of the screen kind of explaining what it's doing there for you. Is that correct?
Yeah.
With each step along the way, it'll explain
Yes.
the process. Okay.
Yeah. So you can see as well here that the book data, it's all aligned, and here as well, here you can see this all color coded. If you don't really know what it is, you see that the red-ish color, it's this CAD, and the purple-ish color, this is the milled restoration.
Got it. Okay.
So it's always there, so you're not getting confused. I think this is a really nice thing, especially when you have a lot of data to work with. And now we move to next stage, which is crown fit in test mode. And here you can actually check the difference between the scan data of your prep tube, this one, and the actual crown. So you see that everything looks really nice. Everything is kind of green meaning that, you know, there's not much different in between those two files. But here you can see that there are some parts that are yellowish, and once you press on them or any other part of the rest of the restoration, you'll see that there's actual number that pops up, and this is the number that shows how much this one file is deviated from another, meaning they're not fitting, they're not really correct. And we have this color bar here, and you can set yourself, like, what do you think is acceptable and what do you think is not acceptable. So for here, what we set is everything that's below 1.0, this is all acceptable, and everything above that is not acceptable. And it seems like it's, you know, just something like, oh, just a little bit of yellow. But actually what we can do, is we can draw a section line and see what it actually looks like. So I'm pressing this button, and I have this line.
So you're just left clicking to draw that line on your mouse? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I clicked to have a section line that goes right in between that part that was yellow, meaning it doesn't fit. And if I zoom it in, I see that there's actually a lot of difference in between the prep tooth and the actual crown. So I see that it just won't fit. And
so
obviously,
can you explain which line is which? Is the line, right there, is that line the actual crown? And so the prep tooth, it wouldn't seat all the way, is basically what we're seeing right now.
Right. Okay. Exactly. This is correct. Yeah. And now what it means for me, it means that I have to do something. I have to alter my crown. So in order for me to understand the situation better, I go to the measurement mode, and oops, where did it go? And here I can see that is a difference, and I can measure the distance in between those two lines. So when I measure, I see that there's 0.1 millimeter difference. That's how much I should cut. So if I cut this much, actually they will fit perfectly together.
Okay, so that's what you would have to grind in order for it to actually see that one restoration that you've already milled to seat down. Okay. And what we want to do is basically get to the point where you're avoiding grinding on any crown. You want your specifications to be dialed in enough that the crown kind of falls right into place.
Right, exactly. And so here, what we did, right, is that we compared the prep tube, the data from the prep tube, and the data from the crown. And here, moving on to this mode, this one shows us the difference in between the design file that I got from Exocad and the thing that I milled or 3D printed, so the actual restoration. And you see that there's a lot of things going on in here.
Right.
It's just, yeah, there is a lot of difference in between those files. So yeah, as you mentioned before, that might be a signal for you to, oh, maybe my settings are not correct. Maybe something is going, maybe there's something off with my machine, with my printer. And as usual here, like when you go over it with your mouse, you can see all of this. So yeah, when you see that it's, so you can see there's a difference that goes into minus or plus. So some parts are a little bit bigger, some parts are a little bit smaller. And we can do here absolutely the same thing that we did with the crown finitesimal. We can draw a section line. And we see that.
So the previous step, we were comparing the crown to the prep. Now we're just going to compare the design, the CAD design, to the milled crown. So there's two different comparisons you're making now. Okay.
Yeah. So you see, as usual, again, here, everything is color coded, and you see that there's a lot of difference in between what I wanted to, what I wanted to have in my as my restoration and what I actually got. And here as well, you can see all this different. But if you really want to understand, maybe if you need to change your settings or something like this, again, you can go to measurement mode, and you can measure the distance all over the place. You can do it here and maybe here. Yeah, so you can just take a look at the data and yeah, find what is the actual difference between your restoration and your CAD data.
Got it.
And also, so we talked about the 4 of the buttons on the top, and there is this one, which is called transformation mode, and we had a lot of questions about what actually this mode does. So if I imagine that, so I have my data, I scanned the prep tube, I have my data, and then I decided that my restoration will be made from zirconia. And as we know, zirconia, when we work with it, it needs to go for sintering, and after sintering, the size of the restoration decreases about 20%. So what if you have your restoration made already and you really want to check if it fits? You can't really do it because of the size difference. Like your CAD data will be 20% less than your restoration. So in order to do that, to compare all of this in the same way, you go to this transformation mode. You take the data that you want to work with. So this is this is my this is a scan data of my restoration, and I take it here, and so I increase its scale by 20%. So
wow.
This is how it's gonna look like. So it looked like this before, and now it looks like this. So when you have a zirconia restoration, you will get something like this.
And this is prior to sintering, is what you're saying. So you can actually anticipate for the size that it will be after.
Yeah. So this is what it's gonna look like. Yeah, this is what it's gonna look like if it's before sintering, right? So it's a little big, so you cannot really get correct measurements of what your
sure.
Yeah, of whether or not it will fit the restoration. So in case like this, you go to this transformation mode and you decrease the proportions of your scan data. And
okay,
now
so that's your scan data. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty useful.
And that was transformation mode, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I think this is a great way for people who work with zirconia a lot. This is something that maybe they can utilize every time they work with it, and hopefully, yeah, they get a lot of information from this, especially in terms of like what they make, how they make, and whether or not it's gonna fit. And that's pretty much it for crown fit. It's when you understand like what is what, and when you have the CAD file, actually it's a very simple workflow, and you can check whether or not your crown fits in 3 minutes maybe. So hopefully this explanation makes it more understandable, the workflow, and you can utilize it in your everyday practice.
Right, and then I think what's helpful is typically when you go to the apps in MediLink, there is a video there. So when they click in there, there's a video that they can watch that explains the process. Is that correct? So
Right.
once you're back in
So
MediLink, so if they have questions, they can go ahead and view that video and understand a little
yeah,
bit more how it works.
yeah, you can always access the page from here. So from any of the apps, you press this button, and then you have what we call tutorial
Oh, okay,
page,
yeah.
and then it will land right here, and there is explanation. Again, there is this video, and there is a sample data package that includes the user guide and the sample case files for both lab and clinic, and there's also a quick instruction on how to import them to it.
Which I love, and I think it's really important for those of you who want to learn more about doing it or who are actually training other people. It's extremely helpful to actually have people go to the video, watch the video, and then download the files and work with it. I think that, me watching you, Maria, it's always incredibly helpful. I learned so much for you, but actually to actually sit there and do it, go through the process, learn how it's done, read what each icon is about on the page. It's extremely helpful to getting it to work. And I think, for me, one of the biggest part of running these webinars is actually understanding what this app is used for. It's a very simple process, and what our end results, what we're looking for is, just to identify certain things, and understanding what those are and how it can be used is really important.
Right, because also, as you know, within Medit here, we have a lot of people who actually come from dental background, right? So they are the people who make all of this, and it's something that they felt like was missing from their workflow when they were working in the lab or in clinic, and would try to bring it back to the market in the form of software, and that's, I think, says a lot because it's made by people who are in the same situation as people using it right now, and they just want to provide a quicker method, a tool that will allow everybody to just do it super quickly. Like, will the crown fit? Like, I think that's the basic question of
Right.
of
And
the
if it
dentistry.
doesn't fit, what's the problem here? And
Yeah,
instead of just
exactly.
feeling like you have to mill out, or use a burr on the inside of
Yeah,
the crown, knowing where the problem is, and then eventually knowing why the problem exists is very important, I think.
yeah, and you don't need to waste any material to do it again. Just alter it a little bit, and you will have it fitting nicely. Yeah,
Perfect.
I think that's a
And then
great thing.
again, we always have to talk about the upcoming apps. We've talked about this a couple times now. I know Medit, again, it's suggestions from people who are actually using the system. You want to talk just for a minute about the upcoming app? A few things to look forward to.
Yeah, so we have two upcoming apps that come very soon. One of them is something that you already know if you use our iSeries. Now that if you want to calibrate your scanner, you have to go to Metascan for Clinics and go through the process. But now we're gonna have a separate app for this, which we call MediCalibration Wizard, and you will be able to run it the same way you run all other apps. Like, it will be in MeditLink, and you will be able to calibrate your scanner very quickly without any extra clicks, taking your time in front of the patient when you run scanner claims.
Right.
So hopefully we will also be able to do a very quick short webinar on this as well. And then I think the star of the summer for Medit is Medit Model Builder, which we're very excited about. It's also coming very soon. And you'll be able to create models, to print them. And yeah, I also hope we can have a webinar on that
Of course.
and go through all of the details because it's a very simple app that works really great. And I hope it will bring a lot of convenience to the workflow for all of our users who are accustomed to printing models.
Right. Well, I think it's exciting because all of these apps exist because somebody suggested them at some point and they thought it would be a nice addition. And again, you guys will go forward and you build the app and you make it possible. So thank you for that.
Also,
Okay.
I want to stress that they're absolutely free if you have a MeditLink account. Like, you don't have to pay anything for them. They're just there. So if anything's stopping you from going and using apps, I don't think there should be any of that thing.
So anyone can use this. It's not if you have a scanner, an intraoral scanner, a T-Series, anyone can use this, import their files, and then go ahead and check the crown fit and so forth. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, that being said, Maria, as always, thank you very much. Next week, as we mentioned, it's Medit Compare. So we're going to compare files. Basically, you'll show us how to, I guess, import them and how to compare the differences in the different files. Yeah, so we're excited for that. Same time, same place. Again, if you're not receiving the recordings after the webinar, please reach out to me, emily.bradley@medit.com. I'll forward the files onto automatically. I know we're working on getting these uploaded to YouTube. I believe that still needs to be done, but it's on the task list right now. So, please reach out if you have any questions or if you haven't received the recording. We'd love to hear from you, and also looking forward to hearing what you guys would like to learn more about. So let us know. That being said, Maria, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks again.